Hi, my name is Amanda Woodward, and I am the director of the MSW program, and I also run our Finland study abroad. So I want to share with you some information about the Finland study abroad program for 2021. So first of all, these are some of the people who are involved. As I said, I've been leading this program and created it with Marcia Lampin and Karen Newman. And we've been doing it for a number of years now. And Erin Kavanagh, who is one of our graduate advisors, is joining on the MSU end as well. And then in Finland, we work our primary partner is the Tampere University of Applied Science, also known as TAMK. Ulla-Maja Koivula is the person that we've been working with her since we started. So she's one of the founders of the program. And then Mario Harju is also stepping in to help us on the Finland end. So the program is designed for master's level social work students, although it is open to bachelor students, doctoral level students, and then students from related fields. We try to cap it at 10. Occasionally we go over, but we found that a smaller group is much easier to move around and do what we need to do. We visit agencies. It's hard for them to have bigger group come often into the agencies. We use public transportation to get around, so it's harder to get people where they need to be when we have a bigger group. So we do cap it at 10, at or close to 10. So this is 6 credits. It's 3 credits is Social Work 822, which is the second the advanced required policy class, and then 3 credits of elective. It is in a blended format, so we're in country in 2 weeks. We try and have some sort of face-to-face sessions prior to leaving, although those often include, they're either on Zoom or some people on campus and some people on Zoom, depending on where students are. And then there's online course content. And the focus is comparative social welfare policy. So how are social welfare issues, social justice issues addressed, thought about, considered in this different cultural and political context. And because 822 really focuses on advocacy, we also look at how advocating for change may be similar or different in these different contexts. We talk about pros and cons of different approaches and what lessons particularly we can use to inform practice and advocacy at home. And of course, there's a professional socialization piece as well, so understanding social work and social work education in a different context, and building an international professional network. I know that some of the students who've gone in the past are still in contact with some of the students and professionals that we interacted with while we were there. And of course, it is just a lot of fun. There's a lot of personal growth that happens. Travel into a different context is always kind of mind expanding and opening your boundaries a little bit. People like to go to Finland because it feels similar and easier maybe to navigate, particularly for some of our students who haven't traveled abroad before. And then they're always struck by actually how the differences really do stand out and make you think about sort of your own life and your own context differently. So this is tentatively our plan. We're looking at maybe doing something a little bit different this time around. Previously, it has all been contained within summer. So full summer semester of online class. What I'm hoping to do and talking with the Office of Education Abroad to see if we can do this is that students who participate in the program will take Social Work 822 in spring. Again, it will be blended or fully online, so that you've learned this policy context, and have thought about advocacy and different contexts before we go to in country. So then we typically are in country the last week in May, first week in June. And then the 891, which is the elective credits, also blended or fully online, would be for summer A. So by end of mid summer, we will be done. So that's our hope. Again, this is to be determined, working with Office of Education Abroad to finalize this. So this is Finland. We spend our time in Helsinki, which is the capital of Finland, down in the southern portion of the country. Tampere, which is where Tamk and Willamaya and Demario are, which is a little bit further north. And then we also take a day trip to Tallinn, Estonia, not for just for a cultural event, not for agency visits. This is a sample schedule just to sort of give you a sense of what happens. So we arrive in Helsinki, meet in a hotel lobby at a designated time. That first weekend is in Helsinki, just sort of exploring the city, getting a little acclimated, getting a little bit over jet lag. And then we go to Tampere. We take the train to Tampere and we spend some time with social work students in Tampere. They will be like just finishing up their semester. So we do a little collaboration with them. We visit agencies and do cultural activities. And then we take the train back to Helsinki. Do the same thing, spend a week there visiting different agencies. We take our day trip to Tallinn, Estonia. It's a ferry ride of a few hours from Helsinki to Estonia. And then folks leave that Sunday, whatever their flight schedule is. So that's kind of, just sort of an overview of what we do. It's a very busy schedule. We do build in some time for free time to the best of our ability, but we do cover a lot of ground, and it's a pretty intense couple of weeks. In terms of the agency visits, we try and tailor those as much as possible to student interests. So when you apply for the program, we ask you to talk about what your interests are. Having said that, there are some commonalities every year, some things that happen pretty much every year, and then other things that cycle in and out depending on student interests and agency availability. But some examples from past programs: we visited schools and talked about school social work, which is a very different thing there. We visit a children's home, foster care, talk about foster care. Another one of our partners, Mirka, in Helsinki, works in foster care, and she helps us with the Helsinki portion of the program as well. And we visit usually her group home. We've gone to a women's prison. We've gone to senior housing or day centers for older adults, drug rehab programs, prisoner rehab programs, psychiatric hospital, and a variety of other agencies as well. And then for cultural activities, we do a range of things. I already mentioned the day trip to Tallinn. We do walking tours of Helsinki and Tampere. We visit Suomenlinna, which is an island castle or fort in Helsinki. We have in the past gone to public sauna, which is an interesting social event. There's usually a social evening that the Tamk students organize. We've gone to a glass factory, we eat a lot of food, and as I said, there's some free time as well. So the cost of the program, again, some of this is to be determined. It's 6 credits, as I said, so that is, whatever your tuition rate is, 6 credits of tuition. There is a program fee. Again, this is to be determined. In 2019, it was about $2,600. I suspect it'll be pretty close. Might even be able to cut it a little bit from that, but it will be in that range. That includes the housing, so we stay in hotels or one hostel that's very nice. Ground transportation, so again, we use public transportation in city. We use the travel between the cities by train. We take the ferry to Tallinn. The only thing that's not included in that is your travel to and from the airport, which you're responsible for. And then some of your meals. So breakfast most days, it's included typically in the housing in some way, shape, or form. And we try and cover some lunches and dinners as well. And then for additional out-of-pocket costs, so you are responsible for your own airfare. And as I said, transport to and from the airport. Of course, any additional meals and miscellaneous expenses, books and your other course materials, passport if you don't already have one, and any other souvenirs and those kinds of things that you want to purchase. There are some scholarships available through the Office for Education Abroad. Most students do pay at least for part of it as through financial aid. So if you are currently receiving financial aid, you apply to the program first. Financial aid gets, once the budget is approved, financial aid will have all of that information from Office of Education Abroad. And then you'll work with financial aid once you're approved to be in the program. And if you're not currently receiving financial aid, you have to apply through use the FAFSA and do all of the things that you need to apply for financial aid. But again, you have to be accepted to study abroad first, and then there's a form that the Office of Education Abroad sends over that has the estimates of the costs. And these are just some other information or resources about financial aid. Again, the Office of Education Abroad has information. There's also some financial aid for study abroad through education, Department of Education. And I've had some students who have found private scholarships or like through foundation scholarships or other things that they've applied for. And if you need a letter from me as the director of the program, either the director of the MSW program or the director of the Finland program, I'm happy to do that. So the process to apply, you apply through the Office of Education Abroad. There's this website here. The deadline is TBD because of this change that I talked about, where I'm hoping students will take 822 in the spring. So the deadline may be a little different than previous years. There's a $100 application fee that's not refundable. But once you're enrolled, it is applied to the cost of the program. There's a $200 deposit due after the application's been accepted to hold your spot in the program. Again, that's applicable towards your program fee. And then the program fee is billed about 2 months prior to departure. The time frame in terms of students learning of their acceptance is it varies a little bit. I mean, I've reviewed applications. Once I've reviewed it, it goes to the Judicial Affairs Office, which really just means that they are making sure you're in good standing. And then you get an official notice from the Office of Education Abroad. And it's not official until you return the decision form that says, yes, I'm going, and you pay your $200 deposit. So of course there will be a syllabus. This is a class. And that, you're expected to complete those requirements for the course, participate in all pre and post travel sessions, and schedule any additional travel accordingly, meaning students like to sometimes travel do additional travel, and because obviously airfare is a big cost. Once you're there, it makes sense to stay and travel around a little bit longer. And I encourage students to do that, but I encourage you to do it after, if possible, because the spring semester butts up against the summer semester so closely. It can be a little difficult to do the travel before we do the program. But once we have the final dates and everything settled, we can talk about that a little bit more. So there are pre and post travel sessions. Again, those will probably be online or blended, just to sort of talk about some of the expectations in the schedule. Of course, we expect professional behavior in country. You're representing Michigan State and the School of Social Work and the social work profession. And we are visiting agencies and interacting with other professionals. So, we expect people to act accordingly. A couple of common questions. So sometimes by the time, because this is offered every other year, sometimes students have already taken 822, or they've used up all their elective credits and want to know if they can only do 3 credits. It is occasionally possible. As I said, the program is budgeted for 10 students. We do occasionally have more students enroll. We try, again, not to take too many over 10, but if we have a couple of students extra, then it is sometimes possible for a student to enroll for 3 versus 6 credits. Again, totally contingent on how many students enroll, and the Office of Education Abroad has to approve it. So it's potentially a possibility, but not something to count on. And then students often ask about travel to and from Finland and whether or not we do it as a group. So no, students are responsible for making your own arrangements to and from Finland. You just have to be in Helsinki on the designated start date. You know, we meet in the lobby at X time on this date and leave on or after that designated end date. I will say, however, though, students often will coordinate their schedules, so fly together with 2 or 3 other people. And once I make my flight arrangements, I let everybody know what that is. And sometimes students have scheduled their times to travel with me, particularly if they haven't traveled outside the country before. It can be a little intimidating if you haven't done it before. So we don't do sort of a group flight, but we can coordinate so you don't have to travel alone if you don't want to. So we will have more information available in late summer, early fall. In the meantime, you can send questions to me, you can send questions to Erin, you can talk to your graduate advisor if that's not Erin. I hope that many of you will be able to join us.